Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the Leadership Challenge Workshop Informational Webinar. My name is Lindsay Knox, and I am the Program Manager of Membership Engagement. And I have here today with me our Executive Director and also the presenter of this workshop, Ed Condon. And he is going to give us all a brief overview of what this workshop is all about and what you can intend to take away from it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Ed.
Great. Thank you, Lindsay. And thanks for those of you who are going to be watching this informational webinar and passing it along to your colleagues. Today, I'd like to spend just a few minutes of your time to sort of outline why the Regional Association is so supportive of the Leadership Challenge curriculum, where you'll find it elsewhere in our Head Start community, and then jump into particulars about the course that's coming up in April. We know that in the work that we do, that there's a great difference between the agencies whose leadership is engaged and looking forward, and those leadership systems and individuals who are just simply keeping up. We encourage that high performance. We encourage that vision, that forward-looking position. Here at Region 9, we have been now for about 7 years offering on a regular basis the Leadership Challenge course. And so I want to spend some time, Lindsay will go ahead and move forward in our slides, giving you a bit of an overview of the course and what you can expect. So first off, just a little bit about myself. As said, I am the facilitator of the course, and I'll be conducting both the 2-day on-site or 2-day in-person workshop, as well as any of the follow-up coaching that we'll do alongside of this. I've been working in the early child industry for a couple decades, particularly the Head Start, as well as with a group of Montessori schools here in Sacramento for about 15 years prior to that. And I'm just really passionate about the development of the individuals who run these systems. I have seen firsthand how impactful great leaders can be at every level of the organization. Whether your leadership is within a family, within a classroom, within a center, or within an agency, at each level, engaged leaders make a difference. I love to start with the Leadership Challenge quote that we'll work with in the workshop. And it's a beautiful quote, and it really sort of goes to the heart of why we consider leadership so essential in the development of human conditions. I always like to say that Head Start was conceived as a program of upward mobility, hence why our logo has that arrow in it. And mobilizing others is really at the core of what Head Start believed so many years ago and continues to each day as we encounter children, as we encounter their families, as we encounter our staffs and the communities we serve. We really are about building capacity. And this quote that leadership is the art of mobilizing others to want to struggle for shared aspiration really captures that, because we know that life can be a struggle, and struggling can be a positive thing. We could change out that concept of struggle for practice. We can change out the word practice for teamwork. We can change out struggle and practice for learning and growth. And so the Leadership Challenge really sees each and everyone as a leader in the space they are most adjacent to, with the ability to mobilize others as well as themselves for this shared aspirations. And of course, whether that's the aspiration of a child ready for kindergarten or the functioning of a family better able to meet the challenges placed in front of them with their children and other conditions in their life, or that's the development of a staff who begins with us as a teacher aide or a family advocate and moves through the various roles, and of course moves into leadership, formalized leadership roles. But we really see that struggle, that shared space, as something that's precious and should be nurtured along the way. So it's really good to sort of begin where we each start. And we try to design this workshop to really ask our participants Uh, what are their priorities? And these are just some of the ones that I've come across as I've conducted the workshop for the last 7+ years in this region. That first off, for some of us, it's really just that credibility issue. It's that building trust, the trust that we have from colleague to colleague, the trust that we have with families we serve, and even trust within classrooms. As children build trust in learning with each other. So building trust is a huge factor and a starting point for leadership development. Right? That leads right into that willingness to collaborate. We know that in this day and age, sharing and developing that capacity to be both risk takers, collaborators, and celebrants of the work that's done is important. But it begins with the willingness to collaborate. So increasing collaboration, increasing that teamwork across systems. The research shows that anyone who has a strong vision of the future is more likely to lead others. And that's true whether we're parenting a 5-year-old or we're leading a team or a site. We know that having some sense of future destination, something that draws us together and draws us forward, is always a critical aspect of what teams gather around. It leads, of course, to team building and helping others to grow in their roles and developing your individual strengths. Each of these are all elements of what motivates individuals to come to this course. And I will say there is no one right time. It's really about your ability to commit to the action plan. So the leadership challenge is grounded in data and evidence. If you were to go on and Google or talk to anyone who's looked at the course, you'll know that for over 4 decades, the Leadership Challenge course, which came out of the work of Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner, who we'll hear from in just a minute, really is all about looking at the facts and taking away the myths and the mystery around leadership and looking at what do people perceive you as? How do you show up in that role? And the data that's generated there is authentic data about you, but over 40 years, it's also become authentic data about what are exemplary leaders. In the workshop, we look at your data. We also consider broader data, and we bring that into the context of the work that we're most assigned to. But we don't just leave it with work. We also think about our roles in our families, our roles in our communities, churches, other groups that we might join, because leadership is practiced and learned in all of those settings. During the workshop, we focus a lot of time on peer-to-peer and small group discussions. Growing is sometimes a risky thing. Admitting struggles, admitting shortcomings or absence of self-confidence takes an open heart. So we try to create an atmosphere through our triads and our small group discussions where you become comfortable talking about the struggles, the aspirations that you have. And of course, we do that through taking risks and hearing from each other, playing some games, and really trying to create fun with something that's very serious, and that's your personal development. So there are 3 parts to the Leadership Challenge workshop. The first being the pre-work, which I'm going to describe in just a minute, then the workshop, and then the action plan. The pre-work, though, which I find just phenomenal, and it's so revealing, it begins with the Leadership Practices Inventory Assessment. And the LPI that we offer really is a deep dive tool. In the case of the LPI, you'll be engaging with individuals who are those that you report to, those who report to you, and those who you might be peers or colleagues of. And in this data, and I'll show you in just a moment, that's revealed to you, it's given indications of how others see you, how you see yourself, and essentially also how your manager sees you. So this self-discovery of data that goes through with the LPI is so valuable. And then a part of that is in the workshop, we look at sort of that self-awareness. How do we feel and react to the data that's been shared with us? Do we agree? Do we disagree? Are there explanations? And where are there areas for opportunities for growth? And of course, that leads us to that self-development. All of us have areas to grow. All of us have needs for refinement and reconsiderations. And so the leadership challenge really tees up some very healthy goal setting around what are areas that we can improve our practices. And remember, we key on the word practices. The leadership challenge is not about getting it right. It's about showing up more. It's about the frequency of which we practice these behaviors. When you see the leadership practices inventory, you'll recognize so many of those practices as natural parts of your everyday awarenesses and routines. However, be mindful of them, practicing making adjustments to ensure they show up, ensures that cross the piece consistency as we interact with others. I will say here that one of the great findings of the Leadership Challenge is this area of equity and inclusivity. So often we think of leadership as something that leaders, those with the titles or the assignments, in this setting, everyone can be evaluated by their peer group. Everyone can be made aware of the behaviors that are more effective in the space of the leadership challenge. The research that has gone into this particular element over the past 4 decades, 500 academic studies, over 1.2 million participants in the current database, and research around the country has shown that these behaviors that are identified within the leadership practices inventory are sound, they're solid, they've been recognized as cross-industry. And I will say the Leadership Challenge, the LPI, all of that work has been embraced fully by our national centers. You'll find it if you go to a training from PMFO. Jackie Davis, one of my, someone who I admire deeply, does a great job in presenting the Leadership Challenge framework. We also use it. It's embedded in our Site Directors Academy here at Region 9, led by Dr. White from the Neighborhood House, and also with our Management Academy. Desiree Garcia includes the leadership practices and the leadership challenge in the work that she does as well. So we really fully embrace this. The distinction of this course is the LPI, where we have this assessment tool. So a little bit more, because I find it just really important for you to know. You can see here that we have the self-score in these various practice areas, and you'll go through a series of questions. That's how the score is generated. You'll then see an average of you compared to others, whether you're individual observers, a manager 1, a manager 2, a direct report 1, 2, 3, and 4, or a colleague 1 and 2. So you can see here the set of data. We encourage you to engage with 8 to 12 participants in your space to give you that data, to make sure that you come to the workshop with a really, really strong data set for you to consider. In addition to these scores, the data also is offered to you in anecdotal questions, which are very rich and give you some insights as to areas that you're both valued and appreciated, as well as might want to work more deeply on considering the impact of their plans. So you see here the data is laid out in the 5 practice areas of the Leadership Challenge, which I'll speak about in just a minute. And I apologize, this is a little blurry. I tried to blow up a page here, and you can see these are the 30 indicators, and it just gives you an idea of how broad the assessment is. Number 1, you probably can make it out, but you see there for this particular person, Rob, who I don't know, this is a blinded copy, treats people with dignity and respect. It's his highest, most frequent practice. And what a great tribute to Rob in this case, that that's how he shows up as a leader, of someone who operates from a space of dignity and respect. And, you know, as you look at these various performance indicators, or if you Google them, you'll find many of them are not contextualized to the role or the assignment. They're contextualized to only your behavior, how you show up, how you impact others. Just one other piece here on this particular profile shot, you'll see that the various practice areas are called out, and this particular sheet gives you direction on what's your most frequently observed behavior and your least frequently observed behavior. So the data that's returned to you is very helpful for you to focus again in that third and most crucial area in the action plan. So I spoke about the leadership challenge from first the LPI, that's the pre-work assessment tool that you'll do with your colleagues, your managers, your direct reports, etc. And then there's the 2-day workshop. And in the 2-day workshop, which you can see here, this was the most recent group, and I believe there are about 18 or 20 of us, which is a nice size. You can see there, it's a mix of folks from around our Head Start region. We spend the 2 days walking through these 5 areas, and it's really a total of 7 modules. So the first module is receiving and unpacking the data. Then there are the 5 practice areas: model the why, inspiring a shared vision, challenging the process, enabling others to act, and encouraging the heart. And then the 6th or 7th area is that action plan. So that's how we divide up our 2 days. So it's a fast-paced workshop. It's filled with data and conversations and much engagement. Folks sometimes think, well, 2 days is a lot to give up, and I totally respect that. And it's not for everyone. The real key is, as we say, it's not just attending the workshop, but it's being prepared in your position of implementing the things that you learn. So I really want to stress that as an outcome of the workshop is what takes place afterwards as well. In the workshop, we provide you with the Leadership Challenge book, with an extensive workbook, with value cards and some other collateral resources to help make sure that you have an excellent 2 days packet. We also offer in the fall, and it would be potentially early November, a 4-day virtual session the same way. Right now, we're only talking about our 2-day schedule. And again, we talked about the hands-on experience, the action planning. And then the last part that I always add on, and that is in relationship to the action plan, it is to be in your corner if you jump into that action plan and get stuck. I like to make sure that my participants know that I'm always available to jump on the call 30, 45 minutes, talk through, unstick you, return you to the theory, the practice, the framework of the leadership challenge, help you think through what's the sticking point, and get you back on the way. So that post-training coaching, I remain available for. So we covered this a bit, but who attends this training? Clearly, senior leadership teams. I've had, a workshop with 8 leaders from the same agency. That can be a great time to almost have a little mini retreat where they go step back and they look not only at their leadership practices, but the system of leadership, the system of supervision and management at their agency. Those are very welcome, and individuals who enjoy that time to think back. Individuals who are emerging managers or program partners, and we all know that after about 2 years in a management role, sometimes we're looking to refine our skills or accelerate our skills. And so individuals who really know their job, know the content of their work, but are ready to step up their execution and implement in a more broad-based way, this is a great course for them. I love this also for individuals who are years and years in the field, but might be just looking for renewal, a chance for some respite to step back and say, where do I sit in this continuum of impacting others? So a renewal of space, someone who's 10, 15, even 20 years, continue to discover new things about themselves. And then, of course, we've also had organizations who had us provide a closed training, so it's just their team. And really the goal there is to elevate the framework throughout their managers. A couple of years ago, I was working with the Tulare County Office of Education as an example. All of their staff at every level received this. Parents' children in Hawaii, they had me in for a 4-session leadership challenge workshop for all of their managers, about 28 people. So depends on your agency. This might be something that would really serve well in your 5-year goals, as it did for PAC and for Tulare, or it might be just a chance for you to step back and say, let's run everyone through this workshop, get a full scope of where we stand, and create that common language as we move forward together. A couple comments from past attendees. I'll let you read that. And just to say, for each person I have had the privilege of hosting the workshops, I think that each one of them come away, as Judy and as Doreen did, with a different sense of value for the course. For some, it was the feedback, and for some, it was self-development. For others, it's a check-in, and for many, it's the light goes on and how they can really step in a more sincere way and encourage others to excellence. So wherever you're at in your leadership journey, the start, in the middle, or in a senior role, there's something in this workshop for you. And because I draw on the attendees and I encourage that crosstalk, that peer-to-peer development, often the richest part of the workshop is in that exchange as we facilitate the classroom. As people reflect on what does it mean to be valued, what's vision look like in their organization, how much permission is there to challenge authority or to take risks in our program, and of course, what do we do to celebrate the great work, and how does that celebration show up authentically by leadership? So those rich peer-to-peer discussions from individuals from other agencies, from other parts of the agency, can also be a great takeaway. Our program in April of 24 is going to be at the Kellogg West Conference Center, which is in Pomona, California. That's Cal Poly Pomona campus. They have a hospitality education program. They operate a conference center right on campus. So we're not in a big hotel. We're kind of up actually on literally a hilltop. Beautiful view of the San Gabriels. And we're there drawn away from our programs and away from our distractions. Of course, we're eager to encourage folks to put away the devices and focus on the day, but we do recognize other things need to go on. But this is a comfortable facility, very accessible for movement. The rooms, the hotel rooms are comfortable. It's not fancy. It is a college conference center. Rates are affordable. And because of the pre-work, even though the sessions are later in April, because of the pre-work, we really strongly encourage you to make your decisions and not only reserve your hotel room by April 1st, but sign up and register yourself or others for the course. That'll give you and my team here at Region 9 enough time to ensure you are set up in that assessment system. You get out to the people whose data you so value. We get them through that data submission process and have all the materials ready for you when we get to our training later on in April. So you can see here the training is the 22nd, 23rd at the Kellogg West. Strong recommendation to register by April 1st. Now, if we get to that point and something has come up in your classes, reach out to us. Let us know whether it's Lindsay or myself or Melissa, who manages this training for us, our conference and meeting manager. I've put the QR code up so you can certainly click that now or follow it back to the website. We'll also be sending this recording out to everyone who signed up for the webinar today, and also we'll post it on our YouTube page so that you can share that with your colleagues, maybe it's your manager or others that might be involved in your decision. So first, let me thank you for your time, whoever has had the opportunity to listen to this. Please engage with us on how we can best serve you in this product or in the other things that we do here at Region 9. We are sincere about our desire to serve and about our desire to see you succeed in the endeavor of supporting children and families. So thank you. I appreciate your time. Be well.